Today's podcast is sponsored by Agora Pulse. Stay tuned for more details in this episode.
This is a guy that, you think you know everyone, but there's always that one or two that you've admired for years from a distance. So reached out, thrilled he said yes. Ryan Deiss, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. And now that I agreed to do this, you agreed to not share those pictures, and you know what I mean. So that was the
Under
deal.
wraps. Right? Yeah,
Under wraps.
It's yep. I'm taking my phone offline. No one's ever going to see those.
On today's show, we have Ryan Deiss. Ryan is the founder and CEO of the Scalable Company and digitalmarketer.com and founding partner at Scalability Equity LLC, a venture equity accelerator that builds and acquires B2B media service and software brands. Ryan is the creator of the customer value optimization methodology and has introduced and popularized many of the digital selling strategies that modern companies now take for granted. His company, Digital Marketer, is the leading provider of digital marketing training and certifications. Its community has over 15,000 paid members and over 500,000 subscribers. Ryan is also the founder and host of the Traffic and Conversion Summit, the largest digital marketing conversion conference in North America. Ryan is also a best-selling author and a sought-after speaker who has shared the stage with top business leaders and celebrities like Sir Richard Branson, William Shatner, Gary Vaynerchuk, Martha Stewart, Tim Ferriss, Damon John, and Dave Ramsey. Internet, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Ryan Deiss.
If you don't know Ryan, you should know Ryan. Digitalmarketer.com, Scalable. He's going to go into some of the things, and he's the guy that has. It's like there aren't many people who are sort of deep in all the things. Ryan is deep in all the things. They are experts at virtually all channels and conversion. They know psychology. They know the algorithms. They know what works, and have been sharing it for years. So we're going to go into that. But first, I think, Chris, you're up first for our topics. What do you got for us?
Dude, I told you I'm coming locked and loaded today. I'm going to share my screen. First announcement for me. Finally doing it, guys. Starting a second business for AI consulting. Talking about AI pretty much all the time to a point where my staff and even my wife is so tired of hearing about it. And so I decided to do something about it. Getting way more, I started the agency about 24 years ago, but it seems like everybody's sort of coming to me for AI. And so I was just like, hey, you know what? I'd like to make some money off of this. And so why not? And so really excited to do this. It's called Dynamics, the AI consulting group. More to come. Hope to really kick this off probably by September. So that's exciting. Now, have you guys seen this? Watch this, guys. So this is Meta AI. Did you guys see this? It was launched this week.
I have not.
All right. Okay. So this is Meta AI. It's going to do the same kind of stuff from an open source standpoint. There's a lot of mud being thrown around by Mr. Zuckerberg at a lot of these other foundational models. They're doing open source. They're going to be putting it out in 3 different levels. They're already, even their medium level is going to be able to is already comparable to Opus by Claude, but wait till you see this. This is their image generator. Now watch the screen as I type. Draw a picture of a lion eating an octopus on the moon wearing a baseball hat.
Wow. I am not that easy to impress anymore, but that was, it was, okay.
It's generating the picture in real time. You can see it develop. That's pretty cool. That's pretty scary.
Give me an idea. Any idea, guys, as random as you possibly can.
Well, I got to say I'm disappointed because all I see is the moon in the background. It didn't appear to be on the moon. So a clear fail there for Meta. Try again.
How about an octopus eating a lion?
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to say that was loading about as fast as a regular image would load on a web page.
Yeah.
Like that was virtually zero latency.
Eating I mean, literally, as I'm saying eating, these are just letters. It's eating a lion. Whoa, they got that past. Octopus eating a lion.
I think we're pushing it pretty hard, but the speed is absurd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Yep. I mean, literally, letter by letter, it changes.
Yeah, it's like Google Suggest.
Yeah.
And so this is from the folks, our friends at Meta. This is not just like a clever name.
Nope. This is them.
This is Meta actually kind of dipping their toe in the AI game, saying we're here too.
Yeah. So that is topic number 1. Now,
wow.
Topic number 2. I told you guys I'm locked and loaded. Give me 1 second here.
That's really nice because Midjourney and all the other AI imaging tools are fine, but you do all these prompts and then you get to find out after the fact if you did it right. And so to be able to get the real-time feedback and adjust your prompts accordingly is going to make it so much better for the average person. And I think that's the big bridge that a lot of these AI tools need to do is they need to bridge the gap between people who actually understand prompt engineering, which, let's be honest, it kind of is like software. It's like coding. Not everybody gets it. And the normal human. And the way you do that is through that real-time, immediate feedback so that not only do you see if it's working, but you learn and you get better and you improve as a user of it. So that's pretty dang cool.
And it stays contextual really well. Like I was just telling a story about like an astronaut walking through a corridor and stuff. And you could see him it almost looked like he was walking down a hallway. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yeah. So the next part of my presentation was going to be talking about agents. Now, I'll try to show some of that in post-production. I'll show the video of what they show. So we've been talking about AI for a long time, but one of the challenges you have with AI is that it's sort of knowledge-based. You type in a prompt, and then it's going to give you information in return. But the way they're doing it now is they're including agents that are going to be very popular in Q4 and all throughout 2025 and beyond, is that it's not only going to be knowledge, but it's actually going to take action. All right. And this is kind of the part that kind of scares a lot of people from a perspective of like, am I going to lose my job? I don't know that you're going to lose your job, but you are going to lose some of your tasks for sure. So let me kind of explain. They have 6 different agents, but the one that was really crazy to me was the one that was called the creative agent. And with creative agent, the first thing it did was it analyzed everything in your whole, like basically imagine your whole Dropbox or your Google Drive, and it analyzed everything you've ever done, and it'll analyze something like 3,000 photos and videos, and it says, this is what I believe that your brand is. All right? And then what it does is it says, all right, in this narrative, it said, we are a tent maker, and what I need now is take these raw images of the tent, and I want to put them in the Grand Canyon, and I want to put them in Yosemite, and I'm going to put them in Iceland, and they took these images of these tents and it looks like they were staged there and the sky is just perfect and stuff like that. And then they click a button and they make it live video. And then they click another button and they say, put captions in 8 different languages. And then they click another button and they say, make me a narrative for this. And basically the narrative can be shared with everybody on your team that can write comments. And then when they finalize that, it says, turn it into a podcast using synthetic audio, and all of that is done in about 9 clicks.
So the use case for that, problem that it solves, that's a moment in time where I'm getting like travel ideas?
Yep. Well, these guys were a tent company, and they were saying,
I see.
This is what our tent looks like out in the wild. Yeah.
I see. So for marketing application, right? It's gonna help you visualize yourself in that context or with that product. Getting that problem solved.
Yeah.
Well,
and that was
the agent point is a really important one because a lot of people are asking me like to talk about like AI's impact on search or, is AI going to kill SEO? And like, I think they're actually completely different things. AI isn't just generating answers for you or creating language. What will happen in the future is that AI is going to take actions. You're absolutely right about personal agents. Probably in the future, you're going to have an AI agent for your healthcare, an AI agent for your money, an AI agent for travel, an AI agent for productivity. This thing isn't just going to like give you answers. It's going to do things for you. It's going to take action. It's going to get those plane tickets and order your dinner. So yes, that's going to be shocking at the time. Like, wait, it's going to just do all that. And the labor market impact, I usually kind of skip that. Like, I don't know what's going to happen yet. It's really hard to say, but it's not very comparable to search. AI is going to go way farther than search does. Search is retrieving information. AI generates new information, right? It's kind of like a blog post on demand, depending on your prompt. But then also the subsequent action that you can take from that, not just how do you write this Excel, this VLOOKUP code. It's going to like fix your spreadsheet, right? It does things. So that's absolutely the future. And there's a Bill Gates quote about this. He says, like, whoever wins the personal agent battle will win, the whole game, because that is, the future of how we use the internet is going to be with tools that don't just answer the question, but take the action.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be the implication on creative jobs, specifically within marketing organizations? Let's assume that there's always going to be a place for, artists producing art that people want to, buy and own and display that represents their values or, some aspect of themselves. But for the need for the creative disciplines in the context of business and marketing, what does this mean for those kind of roles, do you think, Chris?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I think one of the things that it's going to do is that, I mean, you've seen this a million times. So to our fans, I'm a Ryan Deiss client with Digital Marketer. So one of the things that his organization has always been able to do and help an organization like ours do is that they ran tons of experiments, and they come and they pack a lot of data so that when my agency tries to take a risk, it's a whole lot less risky, because we know that teams like Digital Marketer have already tried this experiment and shown data. All right. One of the things that I think AI is going to do is it's going to allow us to take a little more risks, because you can do these mistakes and you can build these things faster. You can test them and see whether they work. That's what I think is going to be very exciting is that I go and I speak with clients and I say, we're going to do all of this amazing, cool stuff. And then they come back to me and it's like, I'd like to get a blog out once a week. I'd like to get my social media to work. I would like, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And I'm like, well, what happens if I could do the foundational things? Could we dream after that? They're like, yeah, sure. But sometimes that day never comes. I think that AI is going to allow us to do foundational things. And I think we're going to be able to compound that with the stuff we always dreamed to do as marketers, but never had the time, the budget. And if I said, hey, I need you to go to Yosemite for my tent company, you're like, good. I hope you got 40 grand to try, 50 grand to try. You know what I mean? Like, so now I think AI is going to make a lot of noise, but it's going to be a lot more polished noise. My question is the things that got us here, what's going to get us there? So if it took a lot of energy to get a blog out a week, and now I can get a blog out a week very easily, is that going to work anymore? I don't know.
What about for social ads and creative for that? It's like, instead of just picking the picture that you think will work for that audience as you do the creative for a paid social piece, instead, we just saw how fast Meta AI did visuals. What if while you're setting up that social campaign, you just say, yeah, show my tent, but show it in front of a camper if the person has a camper, or show it in the mountains if the person likes the mountains, or show it at that park that we know that they've been to. It's like, it's much more likely that conversion rates and click-through rates from ads will be higher when the ads aren't what that marketer thought a good creative would be, but instead the creative was created dynamically on the fly based on some kind of personalization.
Yeah.
Get really creepy. Show them this tent in their own backyard through an API, with Google Maps, Google Earth.
Yep.
Probably from a privacy perspective, that's going to be a no-go. But I would.
Yep. But the marketer will be tempted by that. Yeah, someone is going to try.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to ruin it. 1,000% we're going to ruin it. We always do.
Yep. The blog thing, it's already ruined, though. I mean, if it's like that personal, like I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that? If your blog post is so personalized so that it's talking specifically about your category, results in your industry, it's mentioning people, all the quotes in the blog post are from people with your job title. I mean, is that like on-demand content that's like just generated instantly in the moment after the person clicks?
If I'm doing that with imagery, you got to figure there. I mean, one of the things that I think is going to be very interesting is when we think about how like data is consumed, like, are we going to be able to just like drink at a faster rate? Because I still think it still comes down to only a certain amount of hours in the day, right? And so getting the right message to the right client at the right time isn't going to be solved by AI automatically. It's going to take some skill to figure out how to still continue to get it at the right time, because it's just going to be so much noise out there.
I have seen in the last week, this is a headline from The Atlantic last week. It's the end of the web as we know it. This is the title of a podcast from New York Times last week. Will AI break the internet? Like, there's a serious concern about this flood of low quality content or all this stuff. And here's my perspective as I see it all. If the size of the internet doubled tomorrow, you would never know. It wouldn't even show up on your radar. It wouldn't affect you what's happening in your inbox or how many search results you see for a key phrase, or like how many posts are in your social stream. The question is really like, is this a threat to big tech, and will their algorithms be overwhelmed by like this massive influx of like content trying to get distributed? Maybe, but they've been handling that forever. Like, it's just, does anyone really believe here that the internet is like fundamentally threatened by this?
Just so we're clear, and I want to double check this, Wired Magazine ran an article back on February 1st, 2013, titled The End of the Web. So the end of the web has been predicted about 73,000 times anytime a new technology emerges, and it doesn't end anything, it simply augments. That's like saying that compact discs were the end of music, or that streaming was the end of any of the stuff. It augments it, but to assume that it's going to go away completely is it hasn't happened yet. So I look at a lot of these things, and I keep coming back to the fact that it's always going to be, AI is always going to be the collection of the things that have come before. And so it's going to be really good at getting you very expected things quickly. And so it's a tool that if you don't deploy, it's foolish. It's like a designer, 10 years ago saying, screw Photoshop and Illustrator, I'm just going to do all this by hand. Like, that would be dumb. So to not use it and to not learn about this stuff is malpractice, but to think that it's going to produce breakthrough ideas that are going to move the needle when everybody has it, I still think it's going to be the ideas that win. And if what AI is giving you is a collection of ideas, it helps, but it's kind of like that sophomore philosophy major where it's not as smart as it thinks it is, but it talks a lot. It's very convincing and is like, wants you to believe that it knows everything. But you still kind of want that around as a research assistant.
Sure.
You want that obnoxious sophomore philosophy major. And so I see these things, it seems like it always guts the middle, right? You're always gonna need some kind of grunt worker at the bottom who's doing whatever basic data entry, that the tool can't use yet. And you always need the people at the top who have the ideas and who are architecting the thing. It's the folks trapped in the middle that get stuck. They're the ones that typically get eliminated. You're pretty good, but you're not great. Those are the ones that are in trouble.
Yeah. I think it's going to give a lot of polish to amateur hour people. Like, what I mean by that is like, oh my gosh, I can put a tent in Yosemite. I couldn't have done that before. I thought
it's going to raise the bar.
Yeah.
Now the standards just go up. Like, but since when hasn't technology done that?
Yeah,
right. I mean,
exactly.
I was building websites in 1999 on front page, and guess what? They look like garbage. My skill level in terms of web design has gone up, not at all. If anything, it's gone down. I've probably gotten dumber and less talented as I'm doing it less. And yet today, if I wanted to spin up a simple web page, it would look light years better than anything I could have done back then. What's the difference? The tools, the technology, and also as that goes up, the market's expectation goes up as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes less of an advantage now. It's just permission to play. It's table stakes. So, but I'll tell you, man, that's freaking cool. Like, looking at some of these things, I think the point that you made, clients and what we actually need, like as business owners and the clients, our job should be to not get overly distracted by these things and to focus on the stuff that moves the needle. But from a marketing perspective, whether you're in-house, you're delivering on behalf of clients, the ability to level up your own game, it's there. You can now do cooler stuff than you could do before because of these, and to not take advantage of that is foolish.
Yeah, and AI itself is a tool where there's different levels of skill, which you kind of mentioned earlier. I don't love the term prompt engineering, but I've done hundreds of hours of experiments in AI, and I have a kind of a joke I use in presentations. It's like unless you train it first, AI might as well stand for average information, because it consumed the internet and it comes back and it just gives you sort of what it found in general, until you really train it on your audience or on your goals or on your best practices. Ryan, you and I are both friends with Justin Rondeau. I was on my way to a conference. I'm talking about, e-commerce product detail pages. Justin, do you have any perspective on this? Yeah, I've got some detailed documentation on what's a good product detail page. Thank you, Justin. 150 pages of detail. It took me an hour and a half, but I distilled it down into a 500-word prompt. And now I can give that prompt and a product detail page to AI, and it will tell me based on Justin's standards, right? It's trained. It's like a mini version of Justin now. It's like, these are the things that page should have. These are the information needs that you did not meet. This is the gap. This is what's wrong with your CTA. This is what's wrong with but if I just said, what's a good product detail page, or like, here's a page, what's it missing, or here's a page, is it good? It wouldn't be very good at all. So that training piece, that step, I think people who are lazy with AI, the same that they're lazy with every other tool. So it's like 10x efforts. This is like the theme of my life. 10x efforts get me 100x results. So yeah, I'll work for an hour and a half on a single prompt. But when I'm done, it's like a spell that I could cast on any page and it shows me exactly what to do. Yeah, I think that it separates. I love that. The middle's in trouble because it pulls apart, right? People very low skill, far more productive. High strategy, value added, the really smart, hardworking people who've been doing it longer and know more of what's good and bad. Also more differentiated in this era. So that's been my experience so far.
And I think you got to follow the friction. So if prompt engineering is the problem right now, it won't be a problem for long. They're not going to be like, I can build a picture letter by letter, but I can't figure out how to teach you how to tell my machine how to work. They'll figure that out too. Right now, it's sort of one of these things where if you don't do the right prompt in the right order, like, it sounds so funny, but like, you think it's that intuitive, but you saw the octopus not be able to eat the lion. You know what I mean? Like, that is such a great case study for AI, right? You know what I mean? Like, close, but no cigar, right? That's sort of it. So right now, prompt engineering is the thing, but I'm sure that the friction will move somewhere else. But there'll always be friction. And that's the job as marketers. How do you create a really great product? And how do you do it with less friction so you can develop efficiency to create profit in your organization?
Yeah, octopuses don't eat lions very much, so it needs more training data on that.
Not a ton of internet reference for that.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying today's podcast. Now, please take a moment to hear a word from our sponsor.
This is an amazing podcast on marketing, but what if you're trying to figure out how to actually grow and scale your agency? For struggling agency owners, there aren't as many resources available, and there certainly aren't many places you can turn to benefit from the experiences of other successful agency owners. That's where Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition comes in. I'm award-winning marketer and partnership leader Mike Alton, and each week I sit down with another agency owner just like you, talking about some of the biggest challenges they faced and how they overcame them. Find Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition and subscribe on whatever podcast player you're listening to now.
Yep. All right. You are up, Andy. I want to make sure that we give you enough time here.
No, I'm going to be quick because I want to get to Ryan. Observation. Blog comments have been on the decline for many years, like a decade. And while we were redesigning our site recently, we decided, we were looking at the blog comments and this is like a resource pig, this blog comment tool at the bottom. Do we really need this? The developer was struggling with that. I'm like, no, kill it. Blog comments have moved. Blog comments are on social media now. Publish directly to social media. That's where you get your, that's where the engagement has kind of gone. Don't see a lot in the way of blog comments now. Similarly, are the best conversations that were happening on social media even there anymore? It feels like comments have moved to social and conversations have moved to private social networks, like these Slack communities or private groups, like just masterminds and places. Agree or disagree? Social media is isn't really where a lot of the action's happening, and a lot of the action has moved over to private communities. What do you guys think?
I agree. One, because I've seen it, but two, it's funny you mentioned this. Social Media Today actually put out this article on March 4th, and the title was "Report Finds No Correlation Between Social Media Engagement and Content Readership." Well, there's something that we all knew, right? People are like engaging on social posts and getting really mad about stuff because they read a headline but didn't read the piece. But they went into the full depth of the study, and one of the things that it pointed out is social posts in general are on the decline. So people are posting less, which I think makes sense. Social is moving into more of an entertainment channel, and I think people are realizing that it's algorithm first, not follower first. So if I post, nobody's going to see it anyway, so what's the point? But to what you said, this study also revealed that comments in general are moving from public to private DMs and private groups. Social is becoming considerably less social. It is basically just becoming another entertainment channel. It's the new TV, it's the new radio. Those were never social. Guess what? Social ain't freaking social no more either. It's just another entertainment channel, and we all are going to get back to socializing in private again. It definitely impacts your organic social strategy, which is something that was kind of one of the things I was going to talk about. But Chris, I'll let you chime in as well before we go there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the things that's interesting is when you think that, like, do I really respect the audience anymore when I like, I think something happened in the last 8 years where you say a comment and it can divide a room. And I think people, like the average person that's literally trying to do queries now, we're just like, I'd rather hit you in a safe place than hit you in a public forum where somebody might bite back or something like that. Things got weird really quick in the last 8 years. And I don't think that people always feel as safe as they did before. If you read comments on YouTube, it's like a cesspool. I mean, it's unbelievable. I do this speaking thing for this network, and I had to do this thing on AI and regulation. And like, I was just like, holy crap, none of you guys know me, but like, you are just slaughtering me. And I'm like, I did nothing wrong. I reported the news. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's just, holy smokes. I'm like, I'm not Joe Rogan, but I'm like, I don't think I want to read comments anymore, And I think something happened that way. So now Slack comes around and these other channels come around and they're like, you know what? If you are here, you're kind of like an enthusiast in this space and it's a little bit safer. That's one man's opinion. I hope you're enjoying today's podcast. Now, please take a moment to hear a word from our sponsor.
Listen, if you're interested in learning about new tools and exciting solutions in marketing technology, there's a new podcast out just for you, The MarTech Show, featuring agency owner and technology futurist Robin Diamond alongside myself, award-winning marketer and partnership leader Mike Alton. Each week, we'll introduce you to a fascinating MarTech tool and do a deep dive into the problems it solves. They also dish on what's shiny and new in the industry so you can stay informed on the developments that matter to you. Find The MarTech Show and subscribe on whatever podcast player you're listening on now.
No, I love it. So Ryan, your thoughts? How do we adapt our social strategies if social media is no longer as social? Or if the value of comments has changed, or if this is an entertainment stream now, like, do we just switch to an entertainment strategy?
Yeah, so this was kind of the point that I was bringing. I mean, there's two big things two big questions that we're asking ourselves right now. That were kind of the two things I was bringing. The first one is directly related to this, and that is, in the markets that we're playing in, are we the talent or are we the advertiser? Because if we're going to acknowledge that social is now an entertainment medium, and it is, okay, this data, again, this Social Media Today article, like what they pointed out, it's interesting, but it's also, I think we all knew that. I think we've seen this trend has been developing over and over and over, and with the TikTokification of every social channel, meaning what you see now in your feed has almost nothing to do with who you followed and everything to do with who they think you should be seeing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, I go and look in Reels, I'm not seeing the people I follow. Even when I go to Instagram, even when I go to freaking Facebook, man, and it's better than most of them. I still occasionally see like pics of my friends' kids and stuff like that, but it's a whole lot of, wouldn't you like to see this? So the follower is fundamentally, toodaloo. And the idea of like, oh, I'm going to build a large following on social. No, you're not. You're not. You might have a decent follower count, but that doesn't mean that anybody is going to see it. You're going to see as a user whatever the algorithm wants you to see, which seems to me a whole lot like radio and TV. What am I going to watch right now? Whatever's on the channel. And if I can flip to a different channel, but I'm going to see what they're showing me. That is an entertainment model. So yeah, I think we need to shift our thinking on this. And in the entertainment space, there's really three players. There is the channel itself that kind of owns the distribution and controls what you see. So that might have been, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, like in the past. Now it's Meta, it's TikTok, it's YouTube, right? They are the channel. And then once you have the channel, the other two sides are the talent, the entertainment, and the advertiser. And that's how it's always broken down. And guess what? Advertising was always interruptive. And so this idea, by and large, that you as a brand are going to produce something that is entertaining enough to be worthy of the algorithm showing you to somebody, you're just probably not that good. You're probably not. Because what you are competing against are legitimate celebrities and legitimately talented people. And it doesn't matter that you got them to follow you, not going to see you anyway. So we've finally just accepted the fact that, you know what? We are going to treat our social channels as just a binge factory. If somebody happens to stumble across us, we want to make sure that there's good content there so that if they like it, they can go to our channel, our sub-channel and the bigger channel, and they can binge if they want to. But we're not going to rely on the algorithm. We're just going to buy our way in. We're just going to advertise. And we're going to advertise to something that is good enough to hopefully get people to do one of two things. Thing number one is what I just described. Hopefully they like what they see and they go and binge our content. Guess what? That's actually not going to happen that often. Thing number two is they're going to want to engage with us in a private channel like a DM. So now just about all of our calls to action on social channels are, let's continue the conversation, DM me. And I know that that's not really a new strategy. Lots of people have said, hey, DM me to get this kind of thing. But now it's almost exclusively what we're doing. And I just think it's important as a brand. A question to ask is, are we talent? Are we the advertiser? And for most brands out there, suck it up, Buttercup, you're just not that entertaining. Now is the time to either be the advertiser or to do what brands have always done and to partner with actually entertaining people as the spokesperson, right? When Lincoln tapped Matthew McConaughey years ago, y'all remember those ads? Mm-hmm. The Matthew McConaughey Lincoln ads?
Hit
him up on you.
Yeah. He's like leaned way back and he's like,
Yeah, and freaking Matthew McConaughey made Lincoln kind of cool. Like I drive a Lincoln today, and I'm not saying it's because Matthew McConaughey.
It's because of McConaughey.
It probably is. I mean, huge McConaughey. No, but I mean, like brands have been doing that for years. So as a brand strategy, identifying who the truly entertaining people are, partnering with them directly, advertising, getting them to do stuff on your channel. This is the strategy today. I think the strategy of brands trying to be their own content factory is probably a losing battle in a post-follower, algorithm-first world.
Ryan, is LinkedIn special?
LinkedIn is special only because it's late. So, LinkedIn is Facebook.
But it's not really. I mean, it's not so much an entertainment channel, right? And there seems to be more visibility for your connections in the stream. Yeah,
for sure. And on LinkedIn is doing something that no other channel is doing right now, which is LinkedIn is actually algorithmic, and this is true today. Okay, based on like kind of what we're seeing, could fundamentally change tomorrow because algorithms change. So like timestamp this sucker. What I'm saying is not going to be true forever. But today, if you go and launch something new on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is actually beginning to show a little bit more love to newer people with smaller followings because they want to encourage new people, fresh blood onto their channels. Because I think what they were seeing was probably new users. They're new. This is all just, I don't know this to be true. I believe it to be true. But now if you come on with a new channel and lower following, you're going to be seeing a lot more love. And I've got a lot of friends who are big on LinkedIn, and they're actually starting to see, just some of their algorithmic spread go down a little bit. It's still solid, but it's going down a little bit. But I think that LinkedIn has always functioned like Facebook did 5 years earlier. And I think they still kind of do. And so LinkedIn is still far more follower first, to the extent that algorithm is driving, it's helping the smaller accounts, which I don't think will always be true. So yeah, I do think that there's a unique window. If there was one channel I was going to double down on, certainly from a B2B perspective, it'd be LinkedIn all day, followed incidentally by Facebook. Facebook, I predict, is coming back because Facebook is the only one. Now, this is a bold prediction, by the way. If it's right, I'm going to talk about it more.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'll never mention it. But Facebook is the only social channel that still has any lingering social aspect to it. On Facebook, because Facebook started where we were actually following like our real friends and people we like, I'm starting to go back and utilize Facebook more as kind of a release valve for all of just the noise that is every other social channel. And I'm talking to people, and this, again, no data on this, beyond just the narrative and what I'm hearing people say. I believe that people are going to start opening up their Facebook account and be like, oh, I actually do occasionally want to see, my friend's dog doing something funny. I would like to see something that is actually my inner circle. And so I think that Facebook is gonna fill that void that an algorithm first, follower-less social has, if they want it. They may continue to push and vacate the space, but because they have Instagram, because there's Reels, because there's Facebook Reels as well, I would think, if I'm Zuckerberg, and so, Marky Mark, if you need a tip, I'm here for you, buddy. I would say, you know what? Let's make the Facebook newsfeed a little more kind of pure social like it used to be, as an alternative to every other channel. So it's a prediction.
I like that idea. I think one of the ways in which it's something that supports that is that those are the places where identity may be more likely to be authentic, and LinkedIn profiles are now verified, and these are people, and that they're people, and I think people behave differently when it's connected to themselves. I think that's always been a benefit of LinkedIn, is that these are real names. Facebook probably more so as well, at least more so than like YouTube comments or TikTok. But I think that there is these are more social of the social networks, and I agree. Like Instagram, TikTok for sure isn't even really trying to be a social network, right? It's just an entertainment channel.
Yeah, which is, by the way, why it works better than everybody else. I think that's an important point, right? Why did TikTok work? Why did TikTok come fundamentally out of nowhere and just clean everybody's clock? Because it followed the old school entertainment playbook. We will tell you what you want to see. We know better than you. And the fact is, that's true. There are tastemakers out there who know better than the average Joe what is actually entertaining, right? And now, what did they do? They built a heck of an algorithm, heck of an AI that was really good at figuring out what we wanted and custom tailoring it, but it's still the old school entertainment first playbook. Let's give the people what they want, whether it's good for them or not. Give the people what they want.
Bread and circuses.
By the way, it
goes back to like hitting the Coliseum.
Yeah. Are you not entertained? Exactly.
I am.
I could fix Facebook in one piece of functionality, like a personal setting that says, I don't want to see any political commentary from my friends, from the news, from anything. If you could just pick off that one sector, I would be back.
I would change it. That would probably change
it.
I'm not
kidding. Like I hear you that Facebook could have a resurgence, but for me, January 15th is probably when I'm going to start to head back. Like I just hated the season, and I'm not looking forward to November on either side. This isn't a political commentary. I'm saying that I think Facebook has this trouble of finding itself in this outrage. Like somehow outrage syndrome was born there, and it's going to be a tough thing to erase. And so I think that like my algorithm on Instagram, fortunately, is like a comedy reel. Like it's only the things I enjoy. But like you said, I think they're having true conversation off channel, and the ones that are entertainment, we're going in for entertainment. And I don't know, will Facebook have enough meaningful conversation to go there? So I'm trying to figure out the value prop. If conversation is offline, entertainment is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is always that reservoir of just everything, like the whole bucket. It's my photo album. It's everything I do, like I do eventually put it into Facebook as like this reservoir. To me, it's going to be fun for me, for my kids to look back as like a timeline on my life. Like, I know it sounds weird, but it's like a journal that tracks me. But I still think of the value prop, and I don't know where it fits.
I think the thing that brings it back is their memories feature. The memories feature is the most wholesome thing that they got, where they're gonna replay every day. Open up Facebook just to see what was I doing this day over the past decade and a half, and it always makes me smile, right? Because generally I didn't post tragically sad stuff. I didn't post that time I got in that fight with that person, right? I mean, so I think that is a feature that works. I also just believe, and maybe this is the eternal optimist in me, but I believe that as humans we've been, and my friend and mentor Roy Williams wrote a book on this called Pendulum, but I do believe that the shift towards kind of this witch hunt and this infighting has been so fierce for a number of years now that it is time for the pendulum to shift back a little bit. Now, the other side of that pendulum is going to have its own issues, as it always does. I don't think that what we're going through right now as a culture or society is anything unique. I think we have better amplification tools, which makes it more obnoxious and more toxic maybe. But I believe, like, I know for me, I went in and muted a lot of the friends who are hyper political, and so I don't see that anymore, and it is fairly curated. It is a problem though. That's why it's a prediction. I don't know that it's an amazing prediction, but I do believe it leaves an opening for somebody to step into what has been the vacated void of real social, like actual social interaction.
Can I make a comment here? So one of the things that's interesting, because I'm like a nerd with history, is that there was like the time after historically the Inquisition was this like radically crazy time. I actually feel like we sort of went through in the weirdest Inquisition period between a couple really bad elections and COVID. It's going to land at a crazy time right in the middle of the AI swap or whatever that is. And it could get crazy.
Well, what I mean? Like, the Inquisition, right? You have the Renaissance. So it's,
exactly.
So the, that was the ultimate explosion of art and innovation and creativity that the Western culture has really seen. And now, what did they have back then? They started to figure out new ways of painting and rediscovering old sculptural things and new tools. We've got those too.
Sure.
It's crazy, right?
I love this. We're all over. This is a conversation I'll be thinking about over and over. I'm sure. This has been great. But let's bring it back.
So here's the other question we're asking, because everybody else is focused on. Always focused on traffic and awareness and how do we get more of it, especially in a noisy world. When everybody starts focusing on the traffic side, my energy always shifts back to the offer side, because that's what marketing is, right? Marketing is offers and marketing is amplification. And most of where we spend our time as marketers is on the amplification side. It's on the traffic, whether it's paid or it's organic or it's whatever. And yet at the end of the day, he or she who's able and willing to spend the most to acquire a customer is likely to win, right? That's just the oldest kind of rule in business. How can you become able and willing to spend more? You have customers that are worth more, which usually means serving them better. And so our whole model now, everything we're trying to figure out is how do we get the people who are able and ready to buy now to raise their hand? Because the problem that every business faces is you're going to bring in 100 leads today. Let's just say hypothetically, 100 leads, 100 prospects. 3 of those are ready to buy now. And we have tested this again and again and again. It's backed on studies. My buddy Dean Jackson has been talking about this for a long time. In any audience set, in any kind of lead-based prospect cohort, 3% at any given time are ready and able to buy now. They are in the zone. Now, wait a day or two and maybe they're out. And it's a new set, but it's always about 3%. The problem is they're invisible. You don't know who those 3% are. So I think the game that marketers need to be playing is how do we get the 3% to raise their hand? And so for us tactically now, every funnel, every offer, everything that we do is starting from that perspective. We're going to get a lead. We're going to get somebody to opt in. What is one question that we can ask them that will get them to raise their hand and say, I'm able, meaning I'm qualified, right? I am qualified not just to buy from you, but to buy your most expensive thing, to ascend all the way to the top of the value ladder, right? In the past, our whole game was, bring them in for free, offer low price, higher price, and just kind of march them up. Guess what? That doesn't freaking work anymore because ad costs are too high, right? We got to figure out who's ready to take the elevator all the way to the top to offset our acquisition costs. So what's a question we can ask when somebody becomes a lead to indicate that they're qualified, that they're able to buy. Now, if you're B2B, this could be, what's your revenue? You ask a lead, like, what's their revenue? Because unless they're doing 10 million a year, 2 million a year, you can't help them. Or what's your ad budget? We had a client who his company sold underwater headphones to swimmers, right? Super high quality underwater headphones. They had some lower price, one medium price. All their margin was on the high ticket. So they wanted people who were buying the high ticket. Well, who are the people who are qualified to buy the high ticket? Their data showed they swam at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
They knew if you swam 3 times a week, you were going to buy the expensive ones. So they asked, how often do you swim in a given week? If it was 3 or more, they were showing the expensive one. If it was less, they were showing the lesser expensive one. Completely changed the game for them. Because when they showed everybody the most expensive, now a lot of people bailed out, freaking out, like, I can't afford that, and you couldn't march them down. So what's one question you can ask to indicate, are they able? Then what you need to ask, after that, you need to determine readiness. And readiness can be as simple as, hey, thanks so much for signing up. If you're here and you swim 3 times a week, there's a really good chance that you'd want a higher quality set that can stand the test of time and do all these other things. If you're interested in seeing the best that we have, we don't even feature it on our main site because it's not for most people. But if you want to see the best that we have to offer before anybody else does, click here. Now, if you're like, and there'd be another option, it's like, no, just show me the entry level one. That's the game changer, y'all. You want to see, are they qualified and ready? Qualification plus ready. If you can add this component, you are basically getting your prospects permission to march them all the way to the tip top of the value ladder. Everybody else will go through the normal funnel, the normal process, that's fine. All of your immediate order value will come from that. And then it's just the game is from a follow-up perspective. Who's ready now? Who's ready now? The funnel is great. I think the visual we all need as marketers is the popcorn popper, right? Popcorn's gonna pop at different times. Who's popping? We're gonna give those folks. If you can figure that out as a marketer, then you're gonna win the game.
Do you have any clues into how to find that, or the question that correlates with readiness or qualification?
The best way to figure it out is to just do a cohort analysis of the folks who spend the most. And you don't need gobs and gobs of data, but I mean, if you go into your CRM, you can sort by, what are the, people or companies who have the highest average order value. More times than not, the trends will start to emerge just by looking and doing a little research on the people or company. But then you can just get into surveying after the fact. That can help. But usually for us, it's obvious. Like, it's not that, don't overthink that part. It's typically there. And if you pick and you find that, like, well, crap, these people aren't buying, well, then you miss. Try something else.
Gold.
Audience.
That is a great nugget. I got to think about that. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, so maybe just a question on the form.
Yeah, one question on the form. It's better if it's a binary yes/no or a simple drop down. If you go into 2 drop downs, you start to see conversion rate decline. But we've tested this over dozens and dozens of markets, literally not millions in ad spend, but probably close to it. And we've not seen a statistically significant change in opt-in rates, registration rates by adding a single additional question or drop down. You add multiple, now things get a little wonky. But yeah, what's one question that you can ask?
I'm grateful that you joined us today, Ryan.
This is awesome.
That's really interesting.
This is why we have Ryan Deiss on the show. It's like, honestly, Ryan, I'm a little bit mad I took so much time because you were cooking at the end, and I was like, why did I save that to the end?
Well, I'm glad because I'm done. I got nothing else. So if you were like, hey, fill another 5 minutes, I'm like, we're just gonna have to do a little song and dance routine. So that's what I got.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. This is kind of our goal, guys. If you are our audience and you're listening to the show, Andy and I's goal is to basically rub shoulders with some of the best marketers out there, bringing really great data, bringing really great approaches, and just doing what we did today. I mean, Ryan knocked it out of the park. Andy, thank you so much for everything. To our audience, please like and subscribe, do all that stuff, and we're going to see you next time.